Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
Vannevar Bush Science, The Endless Frontier, published in 1945, represents a pivotal document in the history of American science policy. This essay undertakes a detailed examination of this work, scrutinizing its core arguments, assessing its evidence, and evaluating its lasting impact through a section-by-section analysis. This approach allows for a comprehensive assessment of Bush's vision and its subsequent influence on the landscape of scientific research. Section 1, Introduction and the Call for Organized Research. The opening pages of Science, The Endless Frontier establish the central premise that scientific progress is crucial for national security, economic prosperity, and public health. Bush contends that the scientific advancements achieved during the Second World War demonstrate the potential benefits of organized research. He suggests a transition from wartime research priorities to peacetime applications, focusing on maintaining momentum and fostering a continuous stream of scientific breakthroughs. The report explicitly links governmental investment in science to quantifiable improvements in the standard of living, framing scientific advancement as a necessary condition for national well-being. The initial claims emphasize both the inherent value of scientific knowledge and its instrumental utility, presenting a pragmatic justification for public funding. Section 2. The role of government and the proposed National Research Foundation. Bush elaborates on the necessary role of the federal government in supporting scientific research. He argues that private funding alone is insufficient to sustain the scale and scope of research required to meet national needs. His proposal for a National Research Foundation, later to become the National Science Foundation, envisions a mechanism for allocating federal funds to universities, colleges, and research institutions based on merit review. This section details the organizational structure of the proposed foundation, outlining its advisory boards and its authority to award grants and scholarships. The justification rests on the principle that government investment would stimulate innovation, bolster national defense, and improve public health. The proposed foundation sought to act as a steward of public funds, channeling resources toward promising areas of scientific inquiry. The inherent assumption posited the government as a neutral arbiter capable of identifying and supporting the most deserving research proposals. Section 3. Basic research versus applied research. A key distinction is drawn between basic research, characterized by its pursuit of fundamental knowledge, and applied research, which focuses on practical applications. Bush emphatically champions the importance of basic research, asserting that it forms the foundation upon which all applied research rests. He illustrates this point with examples from the history of science, demonstrating how seemingly esoteric discoveries in basic science have led to transformative technological innovations. The argument suggests that neglecting basic research in favor of immediate applications would ultimately stifle long-term scientific progress. The report explicitly warns against prioritizing short-term gains over the cultivation of a robust base of fundamental scientific understanding. This prioritizing strategy implicitly assumes a linear model of innovation, where basic research invariably leads to applied research and subsequent technological advancements, a model challenged by subsequent scholarship. Section 4, Scientific Talent and the Educational Pipeline. Bush addresses the need to cultivate and nurture scientific talent, emphasizing the importance of investing in education and providing opportunities for young scientists. He advocates for scholarships and fellowships to support promising students, ensuring that financial constraints do not prevent talented individuals from pursuing scientific careers. The report acknowledges the disproportionate impact of economic hardship on access to scientific education and employment. It proposes a system of merit-based awards to ensure that individuals from all socioeconomic backgrounds have the opportunity to contribute to scientific progress. The report connects the availability of scientific talent directly to the nation's capacity for innovation and economic growth. The proposed programs are designed to expand the pool of qualified scientists and engineers, ensuring a steady supply of talent to meet the demands of both academia and industry. Section 5. The health and medical research imperative. Bush underscores the critical importance of medical research, arguing that it holds the key to preventing and treating diseases, improving public health, and extending life expectancy. He advocates for increased federal investment in medical research, emphasizing the potential for scientific breakthroughs to alleviate human suffering and improve the overall quality of life. The report highlights the significant progress made in medical science during the war years and underscores the need to maintain momentum in this vital area. It argues that medical research is not only a humanitarian imperative, but also an economic asset, reducing healthcare costs and increasing productivity. The envisioned strategy assumes a direct correlation between research funding and measurable improvements in public health outcomes. Section 6. The role of universities and research institutions. Universities and research institutions are positioned as central to the national scientific enterprise. Bush argues that these institutions provide the ideal environment for conducting basic research, training future scientists, and fostering collaboration between different disciplines. He advocates for strengthening the research capabilities of universities by providing them with adequate funding, equipment, and infrastructure. The report envisions a close partnership between the federal government and academic institutions, with the government providing financial support and the universities conducting the research. The argument emphasizes the importance of academic freedom and institutional autonomy, suggesting these conditions foster a climate of intellectual curiosity and innovation. The underlying premise positions universities as neutral centers of knowledge production, free from undue political or commercial influence. Section 7. Dissemination of scientific knowledge. Bush addresses the importance of disseminating scientific knowledge widely and effectively. He argues that open communication and collaboration are essential for accelerating scientific progress. The report advocates for the publication of research findings in scientific journals, the organization of scientific conferences, and the sharing of data and resources. It proposes measures to facilitate the exchange of scientific information both domestically and internationally. The argument suggests that restricting access to scientific knowledge would hinder innovation and limit the potential benefits of scientific discoveries. The emphasis on open communication implicitly assumes that all scientific knowledge is inherently beneficial and that there are no potential risks associated with its dissemination, an assumption that merits further scrutiny. Section 8. Industrial research and development. While emphasizing the importance of basic research, Bush acknowledges the crucial role of industrial research and development in translating scientific discoveries into practical applications. He argues that industry should invest in research to improve its products, processes, and services, contributing to economic growth and national competitiveness. The report envisions a symbiotic relationship between universities and industry, with universities providing the basic research and industry developing the applications. The argument suggests that government funding for basic research would ultimately benefit industry by providing it with a stream of new knowledge and technologies. The proposed framework presupposes a clear division of labour between universities and industry, with each sector playing a distinct role in the innovation process. Section 9. International cooperation in science. Bush recognises the potential benefits of international cooperation in science, arguing that it can accelerate scientific progress, address global challenges, and promote international understanding. He advocates for fostering collaboration between scientists from different countries, sharing data and resources, and coordinating research efforts. The report envisions a network of international scientific collaborations, with the United States playing a leading role. The argument suggests that international cooperation would not only benefit science, but also strengthen diplomatic ties and promote peace. The envisioned model of international cooperation assumes a level playing field among nations, overlooking the potential for power imbalances and unequal access to resources. Section 10. The ongoing need for scientific assessment. Bush addresses the need for ongoing assessment of the nation's scientific resources and capabilities. He argues that regular evaluations are essential for identifying strengths and weaknesses, setting priorities, and allocating resources effectively. The report proposes the establishment of a permanent advisory body to provide expert advice to the government on scientific matters. The argument suggests that informed decision-making is crucial for ensuring that the nation's scientific enterprise remains competitive and responsive to societal needs. The envisioned advisory body is intended to provide objective and impartial assessments, free from political interference or special interests. The proposal assumes that scientific expertise and be readily translated into effective policy recommendations. Section 11. Contemporary reception and critiques. The reception of science, the endless frontier, was largely positive, particularly within the scientific community. The report's recommendations resonated with scientists who had witnessed the transformative power of wartime research and who sought continued government support in peacetime. The establishment of the National Science Foundation in 1950 marked a significant victory for Bush and his advocates. However, the report also faced criticism. Some argued that it placed too much emphasis on basic research and neglected the importance of applied research. Others questioned the role of the federal government in supporting scientific research, arguing that it should be left to the private sector. There were also concerns about the potential for government interference in academic freedom and institutional autonomy. These critiques highlighted inherent tensions between the pursuit of scientific knowledge and the imperatives of national security, economic competitiveness, and societal well-being. Section 12. The linear model and its limitations. The report's implicit embrace of the linear model of innovation, where basic research inevitably leads to applied research and technological advancements, has been subject to considerable debate. Critics argue that this model oversimplifies the complex relationships between science, technology, and innovation. They point to examples where applied research has driven basic research and where innovation has occurred through processes other than the linear progression from basic science to application. The limitations of the linear model highlight the need for a more nuanced understanding of the innovation process, recognizing the iterative and interactive nature of scientific and technological development. The assumption of linearity underestimates the role of serendipity, experimentation, and feedback loops in driving innovation. Section 13. Unintended consequences and societal impacts. While science, the endless frontier, focused primarily on the potential benefits of scientific progress, it gave less attention to the potential risks and unintended consequences. The report's optimism about science may have underestimated the social, ethical, and environmental challenges associated with technological advancements. The development of nuclear weapons, the proliferation of pesticides, and the rise of artificial intelligence serve as reminders that scientific progress can have both positive and negative impacts. A more comprehensive assessment of the societal implications of scientific research is essential for ensuring that science serves the common good and minimizes potential harms. The neglect of potential risks reflects a prevailing ethos of scientific exceptionalism, where science is viewed as inherently beneficial and self-regulating. Section 14. The enduring legacy and evolving landscape. Despite its limitations, science, the endless frontier, remains a seminal document in the history of American science policy. The report articulated a compelling vision for the role of science in national life and laid the foundation for the modern research enterprise. The establishment of the National Science Foundation, the growth of university research, and the expansion of federal funding for science can all be traced back to Bush's influence. However, The landscape of scientific research has evolved significantly since 1945. The rise of globalization, the increasing importance of interdisciplinary research, and the emergence of new technologies have created new opportunities and challenges for the scientific community. Adapting to these changes requires a re-evaluation of the principles and policies outlined in Science, the Endless Frontier, ensuring that science continues to serve the nation's needs in the 21st century. The legacy of Bush report underscores the enduring importance of investing in scientific research, while also highlighting the need for critical reflection on the societal implications of scientific progress. Section 15: Diversity, Equity and Inclusion in Science. Science, the Endless Frontier gives limited attention to the issues of diversity, equity, and inclusion in science. The report's focus on merit-based selection overlooks the systemic barriers that have historically excluded women and underrepresented minorities from scientific careers. Addressing these disparities requires proactive measures to promote diversity and create a more inclusive scientific community. Policies aimed at increasing the representation of women and minorities in science are essential for ensuring that the nation's scientific talent is fully utilized. The report's neglect of diversity reflects the prevailing social norms of the 1940s, highlighting the need for a more inclusive and equitable vision of science in the 21st century. Overcoming systemic barriers is essential for realizing the full potential of the nation's scientific workforce. Section 16: Public Trust and Scientific Communication. Maintaining public trust in science requires effective communication and engagement, which assumes an inherent level of public understanding and appreciation for scientific endeavor, an assumption increasingly challenged in contemporary society. Increased skepticism toward scientific expertise, fueled by misinformation and political polarization, necessitates greater efforts to communicate scientific findings clearly and transparently. Scientists have a responsibility to engage with the public, address their concerns, and explain the importance of scientific research. Fostering a more informed and scientifically literate citizenry is essential for ensuring that science continues to serve the public good. Rebuilding trust requires acknowledging the limitations of science, addressing ethical concerns, and promoting open dialogue about the societal implications of scientific advancements. Section 17: The Commercialization of Science and Academic Integrity. The increasing commercialization of scientific research raises concerns about academic integrity and the potential for conflicts of interest. While Bush emphasizes the importance of industrial research and development, he gives less attention to the ethical challenges associated with the commercialization of scientific discoveries. The pursuit of profit can distort research priorities, compromise the objectivity of scientific findings, and limit access to scientific knowledge. Safeguarding academic integrity requires establishing clear guidelines for managing conflicts of interest, protecting intellectual property, and promoting transparency in research funding. Balancing the benefits of commercialization with the need to preserve academic freedom and integrity represents a significant challenge for the scientific community. Section 18: The Global Context of Science Policy. The landscape of science policy is increasingly shaped by global forces, the rise of new scientific powers, the increasing interconnectedness of research networks, and the emergence of global challenges such as climate change and pandemics require a more international perspective on science policy, which focuses primarily on the national context of scientific research, overlooking the importance of international collaborations and the need to address global challenges. A more global perspective on science policy is essential for ensuring that science contributes to sustainable development, global health, and international security. Addressing global challenges requires coordinated research efforts, shared resources, and a commitment to international cooperation. Section 19: Revisiting the Social Contract for Science. Science, the Endless Frontier, articulates a social contract for science, where the government provides funding for scientific research in exchange for societal benefits. This social contract has been instrumental in shaping the American research enterprise, however. It requires continual reassessment in light of evolving societal needs and priorities. The assumption of automatic societal benefit from scientific advancement warrants close scrutiny. The public expects science to address pressing social problems, contribute to economic growth, and improve the quality of life. Ensuring that science continues to meet these expectations requires ongoing dialogue between scientists, policymakers, and the public. Reaffirming the social contract for science requires a renewed commitment to transparency, accountability, and public engagement. Section 20, Alternative Evaluation Metrics and Impact Assessment. The traditional metrics used to evaluate scientific research, such as publications and citations, may not fully capture the broader societal impact of scientific discoveries. Bush relies on conventional measures of research output. Alternative evaluation metrics, such as patents, spin-off companies, and policy changes, can provide a more comprehensive assessment of the impact of scientific research. Developing and implementing these metrics requires a collaborative effort between scientists, policymakers, and evaluation experts. A more holistic approach to impact assessment is essential for ensuring that scientific research is aligned with societal needs and priorities. Evaluating impact goes beyond quantifiable outputs, extending to qualitative assessments of societal benefit. Section 21, The Future of Science Policy and the Endless Frontier. The challenges and opportunities facing the scientific community in the 21st century demand a renewed commitment to innovation, collaboration, and societal engagement. Bush's vision of science, the endless frontier, remains relevant, but it must be adapted to the evolving landscape of scientific research. Investing in basic research, fostering scientific talent, promoting diversity and inclusion, and engaging with the public are essential for ensuring that science continues to serve the nation's needs. The future of science policy requires a long-term perspective, a commitment to innovation, and a willingness to adapt to changing circumstances. Maintaining the endless frontier of scientific discovery requires a sustained commitment to research, education, and societal engagement. Conclusion. Vannevar Bush Science, The Endless Frontier represents a landmark document that profoundly shaped the landscape of American science policy. Its central claims regarding the importance of government funding for basic research, the cultivation of scientific talent, and the dissemination of scientific knowledge had a lasting impact on the development of the modern research enterprise. While the report's implicit assumptions, such as the linear model of innovation and the inherent beneficence of scientific progress, have been subject to scrutiny, its enduring legacy lies in its articulation of a compelling vision for the role of science in national life. Subsequent developments have necessitated critical re-evaluation as societal impacts and global forces gained prominence. Moving forward, science policy must continue to adapt to changing circumstances, addressing the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century while upholding the principles of scientific integrity, public engagement, and societal benefit. The spirit of science, the endless frontier, endures, inspiring continued investment in scientific exploration and discovery, while acknowledging a more nuanced understanding of its social and ethical implications.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.